Hello my dear friends and welcome to Study IQ. I am Joycey Joy and today in this lecture we will discuss about the CAG report on government spending. First of all, let us understand what is the current affair. The CAG is the Controller and Auditor General of India. So CAG has recently tabled its report on spending by the government. This report was tabled in the Parliament. So based on the report submitted by CAG in the Parliament, we will analyze the government spending. Now before we move on to the report, let us briefly discuss about CAG. CAG is Controller and Auditor General of India, and CAG of India would be appointed by the President, and he or she can be removed from the office in a manner and on grounds like the judge of a Supreme Court. That means he has to be impeached. So it means that the process by which the CAG can be removed is similar to that of a judge of a Supreme Court. And the salary and the expenses of the CAG are drawn upon the Consolidated Fund of India. And what is the main duty of CAG? The main duty and power of CAG is to check the accounts of the union government as well as the different state governments and any other body that is prescribed in the law which is enacted by the Parliament. And CAG will have to submit the report to the President because President is the appointing authority and the President will submit or table this report in the Parliament. And the CAG report of the state governments shall be submitted to the Governor and Governor will lay them before the state legislature. So this is in brief about CAG, the Controller and Auditor General. Now let us come to the report. We have seen that CAG has submitted its report to the President and the report has been tabled in the Parliament recently. So let us see what are the highlights of the report. The first highlight of the report was regarding the off-budget financing. Off-budget financing means those expenditures which are not shown in the budget. So the first highlight in the CAG report is regarding off-budget financing of the government. Those financing or expenditures which were not mentioned in the budget. So the CAG report says that the government has used off-budget financing in order to defer fertilizer arrears, food subsidy bills, outstanding dues to the FCI, Food Corporation of India, etc. So this off-budgeting finance includes those mechanisms like the market borrowing or ways and means advances, and these are strictly outside the purview of parliamentary oversight. And the second highlight of the report is regarding the spending on irrigation. So the government spending on irrigation was masked by borrowing from the NABARD or the National Bank for Agriculture and Rural Development. And thirdly, regarding the railway expenditure, the railway expenditure was covered by borrowing by the Indian Railway Finance Corporation, and the spending on the power projects were done by borrowing from the Power Finance Corporation. So these were all some of the off-budget financing. So from these examples, it is clear that these off-budgeting financing options provides a flexibility to the government in meeting the capital requirement. But in the long run, it poses a fiscal risk. In case if the entity that raises the fund fails to meet the debt servicing, it will cause a long-term fiscal risk. And it is not only the capital expenditures, but also in case of revenue expenditures as well, the government resorts to off-budget methods in order to meet the finance requirements of the revenue expenditure of the government. And the CAG report highlights that currently the quantum of such off-budget financing is very high and current policy framework lacks transparency regarding the disclosures and also regarding the strategy for managing such type of borrowings. So the CAG report highlights that if there is any framework that is created by the government with an objective of off-budget financing, the government should mention specifically the rationale and the objective of such kind of off-budget financing. The government should also mention or specify what is the source of such funds and why such funds were raised, that is the objective of raising such funds through off-budget financing, etc. So this must be specifically mentioned. So CAG recommends that the government should consider disclosing the details of all its off-budget financings or borrowings through the disclosure statements in the budget as well as in the accounts of the government. So we have seen in the beginning that such type of off-budget financing they are not under the purview of Parliament scrutiny. So CAG recommends that in order to bring in more accountability of the government towards the Parliament, the government should disclose the details of the off-budget financing in the disclosure statements along with the budget when it is presented in the Parliament. So this will provide more transparency and accountability. Now let us understand in detail what is the case with the FCI or the Food Corporation of India. In order to illustrate the off-budget financing of the government, the CAG report has given the example of FCI. So for that, let us first understand what is the concept of subsidy with that of FCI. So for the FCI, that is the Food Corporation of India, subsidy means the difference between cost of procurement, that is procurement cost minus cost of providing them to the fair price shops. So procurement minus allocation cost is what is called the subsidies of FCI, and this difference between cost of procurement of food grains and the cost of providing them to the fair price shops or the ration shops is what FCI demands from the government as subsidy. And under the budget would allocate certain amount of money in a certain financial year in order to clear all the dues of food subsidy bills raised by the FCI. So FCI will be providing food subsidy bills to the government, and government, let us assume, in the last financial year, that is financial year 2018-19. So in the financial year 18-19 budget, the government would have allocated a certain sum of money for the FCI, and this is to clear all the subsidy bills raised by the FCI. And suppose the money that is allocated by the government in a financial year in a particular budget is not sufficient in order to clear all the dues of food subsidy bills raised by the FCI, the dues of such subsidies will be carried over to the next financial year. So the subsidies would be carried over to the next financial year. And it is evident that there was an increase of about 350% in carried over subsidy arrears in the 5 years preceding 2016-17. So there was an increasing amount of subsidy arrears that the government owed to FCI or the Food Corporation of India. But what did the government do? The government passed on this food subsidy burden to the FCI rather than financing it or servicing it from the budget of the government. So as a result, the FCI, Food Corporation of India, had to finance from a number of sources, and these sources would include very high interest cash credit facility. FCI also borrowed from NSSF. So ultimately this increased the actual cost of the subsidy. For example, in the year 2017-18, the Food Corporation of India, the FCI, took loans of around 65,000 crore rupees from NSSF. So actually this money should have been a part of government's expenditure which should have been shown in the budget of the government. But now this has led to off-budget financing. Now let us understand what is the way ahead or what should be done. Before that, let us understand the objective of FRBM Act. The FRBM Act of 2003 targeted to provide for responsibility of the central government in order to ensure intergenerational equity in fiscal management and long-term macroeconomic stability. And to a larger extent, government is not able to achieve the objectives under FRBM Act. So the focus of government should be to provide an intergenerational equity. That means if government depends on off-budget financing, this will carry on the cost or the burden to the next financial year. So this will lead to accumulation of arrears and will be an obstacle for intergenerational equity. And secondly, the government should focus more on long-term macroeconomic stability. So here macroeconomic stability means that the government should focus more on long-term plans. For example, off-budget financing. Off-budget financing can be a solution to the government in the very short run. It will not be beneficial for the long run, and also it is destructive in nature in the long run. So focus should be on macroeconomic stability. That means the policies should be aimed at long-term stability and revival of Indian economy rather than meeting the short-term objectives. So according to the CAG report, the successive governments, whether it is the present government or the past government, the government have resorted to short-term methods like rolling over additional subsidy burden or taking back unspent amounts from various ministries, converting certain expenditure entries into ways and means advances, running down the cash reserves, etc. So focus was on short-term measures in order to revive the economic condition, and this is purely political in nature. So this will not bring in a macroeconomic stability in the long run. So government should focus on macroeconomic stability, and thirdly, the government should try to maintain the fiscal deficit target. The government has set up the fiscal deficit target at 3.3% of the GDP. But according to various advanced estimates by CSO and other estimates, it is clear that government cannot be able to achieve this fiscal deficit target in this financial year. So at least from the next financial year or in the upcoming years, the government should focus more on meeting the fiscal deficit target, which is set up by the government at 3.3% of the GDP. And in order to bring down the fiscal deficit target, government must cut down on expenditure and focus on more revenue mobilization. And fourthly, the union budget or any account of the government should be more transparent. For example, the upcoming union budget, it should show the true picture of the central finances. The public needs a fiscal deficit number that is credible and also that reflects the true level of government borrowing and spending. So the pictures must be transparent. It should reflect the clear borrowing and the spending of the government, and when transparency improves, it will create ease of doing business, it will create an enabling environment in the market, and market will be able to raise more money in the long run. So government should not just adopt measures which are fiscally conservative and compromise the long-term benefits the market would provide. And the CAG also recommends that investing in the troubled and loss-making PSEs. We have seen that government is investing more money in PSEs like Air India from the Small Savings Fund, that is NSSF. So such type of errors should be eliminated or avoided by the government, because the small saving funds is a people's money or public money. So the government is responsible to utilize the public money in an effective and efficient manner. So investing that money in loss-making PSEs should also be avoided to a larger extent. So these are the recommendations provided by CAG, and you can find the PDF of this lecture on my Facebook page. And for any queries regarding your UPSC preparations, you can get in touch with me on my Facebook page, or you can email me at joyce.studyiq@gmail.com. Thank you.